Good afternoon from Los Angeles. It's Alyssa Corum and Ken Shreve here with a look at the stock market today. And on today's show, we are going to be talking about Lululemon, Accenture, and more. Some pretty nice stock action today. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. We finished with modest gains across the board. The NASDAQ up about 0.3%. Same for the S&P 500 and Dow, between 0.3 and 0.4%. And a nice day for small caps as well.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty good close, up near session highs. We had a little bit of a downdraft earlier in the day. There was a Bloomberg report that White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow said that the trade talks with China could be pushed back weeks or even months. They need to get the right deal, so the market got a little jittery about that. But you know, indexes have traded in a tight range all day. We've got them up around 0.3% at the close, so pretty good session and some interesting earnings reports as well.
That's right, and we have pulled back from the high that we saw last Thursday, but the NASDAQ is still holding above its 21-day moving average, so a little bit of support here. How is the uptrend looking?
The uptrend's looking fine. I think the market technicals look okay. You know, we've seen some kind of volatile action in semiconductor stocks that we've talked about recently.
Right.
Great day for home builders yesterday, not so much today when pending home sales disappointed a little bit, and nice day of outperformance for small caps as well today.
That's right, and we talked about this a little bit Wednesday afternoon with Lululemon earnings coming out, and the stock did indeed break out of a base on those results, finishing the day up 14% in heavy volume, gapping out of a base here with a 158.77 buy point. We have accelerating earnings and sales growth here, and analysts are optimistic about prospects here.
Yeah, and they're really doing well with their men's line. You know, they still have a lot of market share to gain there, and demand has been pretty strong for their men's clothing line. And yeah, so Lululemon same store sales up a whopping 16%. That was actually in line with expectations, but the $500 million share buyback, I think the market liked that news as well. But this has been a company that's been executing quarter after quarter after quarter. Just a really solid, well-run company here, and a good gap up. The open price around 169, probably, you know, decent entry. It closed a little bit below that, but just a solid breakout today.
Right. I was going to quickly say, what do you make of the close today? It is in the lower half of the range, but I mean, a huge gap up here.
Yeah, I mean, when a stock gaps up, obviously you want to see it close at least in the middle or upper portion of its intraday range. Lulu did not do that. It still ended with a really strong percentage gain. So I think in a case like this, you look at a weekly chart, and it would really just give good perspective. Weekly chart's just going to show a really bullish breakout today.
That's right, and Accenture shares finishing the day up 5% in heavy volume. That RS line hitting a high, the stock trying to break out of a consolidation here. We did have an earnings beat, although sales growth did decelerate a little bit from 7% last quarter to 5% this quarter.
I mean, really huge company here, market cap about 115 billion, yields about 1.8%, so you also get a dividend with Accenture, but I would definitely call this, you know, a breakout. We were talking about when a stock gaps up, getting a close at least in the top half, and that's what Accenture did do today. And weekly chart showed a little handle buy point here, so this was a bona fide breakout as well for Accenture. Great day for the stock.
All right, and moving on, we want to talk about the chip space. Some good news out of the chip space today. We have ON Semiconductor buying Quantenna Communications for a deal around $1 billion, and Quantenna up some 18% in massive volume on this deal. And this name has been on our radar with a breakout in March earlier.
Yeah, and it's been sort of a mainstay in our IPO leaders screen. So it's just a good example of how IBD growth screens really can. You often see acquisition targets in a lot of our screens because acquiring companies like to often acquire smaller companies that have got good earnings and sales growth, good market share, and certainly Quantenna fit the bill.
Yep.
The deal valued Quantenna at $24.50 a share. Stock closed right around $24.13, so bullish gain for Quantenna. And chip sector, you're looking for areas where you're going to see more mergers and acquisitions. I mean, you could probably put biotech in there, but the chip sector is still very fragmented. A lot of companies, chip makers, chip designers, equipment firms, probably an area where you probably see acquisitions down the line too.
That's right. Well, we could be seeing more of this, so we'll definitely keep our eyes peeled for that. And on the earnings front, RH reporting its earnings after the close today. The early reaction, light volume here after hours, but the stock up about 0.8% as far as early trading as we await more details on the earnings report.
Right. RH, formerly known as Restoration Hardware, and sort of a chart very, at least similar to Lululemon and Five Below. You can see Restoration Hardware was just a little bit below its 50-day moving average, sort of testing support at the 200-day line. Earnings were expected to be up 69% to $2.86 a share, so I haven't had a chance to look over the earnings report yet, but like you said, the stock is up moderately in after hours. Sales growth has been kind of slowing at RH, single-digit sales growth the past 2 quarters. Sales this time around expected to be up about 2.5% to $686.7 million. So we'll take a look at the earnings report and see what the stock looks like tomorrow morning.
That we will. And before we go, we want to let you know that you should definitely check out our Investing with IBD podcast hitting the web today, our 3rd episode. New episodes come out every Thursday, so make sure you head to investors.com/podcast for all the details, and you can subscribe on your listening platform of choice, whether it's Apple Music, Google, Spotify. Arusha over at MarketSmith, our product manager over there, he's leading the charge with this podcast, and Chris guesting. So a lot of great insights there.
Yeah, I think the latest one's sort of about taking profits in a stock at 20-25%. So we've been in a big market rally since early January. Nice confirmed, follow-through day by the S&P 500 in early January, and a lot of stocks have been moving nicely higher. Many have triggered that 20-25% gain from the buy point. So I think that's one of the topics that they're going to be talking about.
Yeah, really key insights. So make sure you check it out. And it is still MarketSmith Free Access Week. So make sure you head to investors.com/MS Free Access to take advantage of that offer there. So between the podcast and MarketSmith Free Access, a pretty good combo there. And on top of all the great stuff that we already have.
There's always a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And be sure you're heading to investors.com for all the latest stock news and analysis. For Investors Business Daily, this is Alyssa Corum and Ken Shreve. We'll see you tomorrow.